This is the Dstry.MNL podcast.
Welcome to the Dstry.MNL podcast. We're here with Shinju Nozawa-Auclair. So, how are you, Juju?
I'm doing real good. How are you guys?
We're good, thank you.
Maybe you can give them a brief background of who you are and your martial arts background as well.
Cool. Well, I'm living in San Francisco, California. I'm half Japanese, so I go out to Japan a lot. And I started fighting for Rizin this past summer, July 2017.
And you're 2-0 as a pro now.
Yeah.
Amazing armbar finish on the last one against Chelsea Legrasse.
Thank you so much.
There's actually a rematch, right?
Yeah, that was we fought as amateurs, so that was our second time meeting.
Alrighty. How is your right arm, by the way?
I'm in recovery right now. It's 2 months out of surgery, just about. So I've been 7 weeks ago.
Did you hurt that in the fight, or were there problems prior to that?
I hurt it before the fight. I dislocated my elbow about a month before the fight.
Wow, you still
Yeah, that's
went through the
okay.
fight. Wow, that's impressive.
Were there any thoughts on not taking the fight because you were injured?
I mean, my doctor told me not to take the fight, but I don't really like to listen to anybody, so.
Of course you did.
How were you going into the fight? I mean, I'm pretty sure you were, in some ways, you were bothered by that injury, or were you?
You know, that's the thing is, fighting is, I think, 90% mental. So you just you got to put it out. You can't be thinking about your arm. You know, I was throwing my right hand like it wasn't hurt. I paid for it the next day, but during the fight, it was okay.
I mean, well, it paid off well. You won the fight. Can you maybe give us a brief background of why you went into MMA? I know before going into MMA, you were in nursing school.
Yeah, I was in nursing school. And I did karate when I was younger. So I started that when I was about 9 years old. So I did that for a while. And when I was in college, I started boxing. And then I started grappling. And then obviously I had to put it all together. And I started MMA.
So the modeling and all of that just came in when you went into MMA?
I got asked just to do a couple photo shoots once I went over to Japan, and it wasn't something that I was looking into or planning on doing or anything like that. It was unexpected.
Aside from the karate background, you also did ballet?
Yeah. Yeah, so I was doing karate and ballet.
Wow, so you're really pretty flexible then.
Does ballet like inform your MMA? Is that like helpful in your fighting?
I think so. Dance requires a lot of muscle control, and you have to be very aware of your positioning in dance. So I think that helps a lot in fighting. And I think it's a really good way to cross train as well.
And not a lot of people know ballet is pretty brutal, especially on the feet.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't think, it looks pretty when you see it, but it hurts. You're putting all your entire body weight on your toes, so it's not fun all the time.
Do you still, practice ballet from time to time just to, get into the mix?
Not for maybe 2 years I haven't, but since I have the time off right now with my injury and I can't train with martial arts full time, I was actually planning on going back maybe sometime at the end of this month and starting to put that and then carrying it on through all of my training camps is kind of a way to put everything together. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be an interesting mix. I mean,
Exactly.
don't hear a lot of fighters even who have that kind of training included in their martial art. Can you also tell us about your recent fight? What was your psyche going into that fight? I mean, with the injuries and everything, and it being a rematch.
The original fight that I had with her, it ended in I got disqualified. So I felt like there was a little bit of unfinished business there because I lost on a technicality. So there was a little bit of a score to settle between the two of us. Um, yeah, I was excited to be able to go in there. As far as the injury goes, like I said earlier, I didn't try to think about it too much. I knew if my mind was right, then my fight was going to be right too.
It's kind of weird that an organization, even if it's amateur, doesn't allow head kicks. Is that in that state only?
Yeah, that was I was training in Michigan at the time, and in Michigan amateurs, can throw head kicks, as I assumed the rest of the world would be able to.
Exactly.
Went over to Ohio, and apparently it wasn't allowed, and I kept throwing them, and I got disqualified. They told me right before the fight that I couldn't, but I had already trained
for that. Yeah.
so much, and I don't really think too much when I fight. So every time I saw the hand go down, I was like, head kick.
Okay. Hey, there you go. DQ. Could you take us back? You said in interviews that the first time you got interested in MMA was when you were watching a lot of UFC, and you finally saw the Paige Van Zandt and Felice Herrig fight.
Yeah, I saw their fight, and I think it was one of the first women's fights that I really watched. I'd always been more into I watched kickboxing and I watched boxing, but I didn't watch as much UFC, and that was the first time I saw a female UFC fight, or one of the first times that sticks in my head at least, and I thought it was really cool. And then I started paying a lot more attention to women's MMA, and I was like, man, I wonder if I had never quit karate, if this was something that I could do for myself. But I was in college at the time, and I thought I was too old to get started with, a brand new sport, and I wasn't sure if I had it in me. So I just kind of took a leap, and I gave it a try, and I dropped out of school, and I'm glad I did.
How did that go over, like the dropping out specifically? Because as Asians,
Oh, yeah. My mom's a little bit different. She's not super, super traditional, strict Japanese. So it was okay.
And then when was the first time you trained? And then could you tell us about that? How did you eventually cross over from watching to training, and then?
Well, I was in Michigan, and I was in a place where there's just absolutely nothing to do. I'm from California, so I was always busy. And I went out to Michigan, and it was just like the country is nothing. Everyone hangs out at like Walmart or whatever. I don't even know. And so I had so much time on my hands. I looked up, just the boxing class that they offered on the campus. So I decided to take that. And there are these guys that would hang around afterwards. So, like most people were going to boxing class to kind of get fit. And there are these guys that would hang out afterwards that were, actually wanting to fight and stuff like that. And it was just like a group of guys. And I was kind of intimidated, but I was like, you know what, this is my chance. So I went up and I asked him, I was like, hey, would you guys ever be willing to, work with me? And I was a total, didn't know what I was doing really. I'd done karate, but, not boxing. You don't in the face really in karate. So it was brand new, and it was so cool. They all took me in, and they were super supportive and friendly, and they started taking me to different gyms around in Michigan, and then I ended up finding my way to an MMA gym.
That was an amazing reception, because that's way better than what Ronda Rousey experienced. Like she got turned down in the first one, but you got welcomed with open arms. It's amazing. Did you compete when you were in karate?
Yeah, I did. I did a lot.
How was it when you finally sparred in MMA?
In MMA, well, the first time I sparred, really, the first thing I can think of was the first time I was boxing, box sparring, and I remember I told my dad that I was going to, go to the boxing gym and go spar some. He told me, he was like, "Oh, you're gonna quit as soon as you get popped in the face."
That's what he said.
I kind of had that in the back of my head, and I was like, I kind of wanted to prove him wrong, and I wanted to like show him that I was tougher than he thought I was. So I got hit in the face, and then something went off in me, and I went bat crazy, and I started wailing on this girl. I was like, my dad thinks I'm gonna quit. Nope.
Not gonna happen.
It looks like your parents are very supportive of what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're excited. My mom doesn't really like to watch it all that much. She cries the whole time, but she still comes anyway, so it's cool.
Yeah, she was ringside at your last fight, right?
Yeah, she complains about it, but
Still goes to watch it. Awesome support.
she also doesn't know what's going on at all.
Oh,
So
for the MMA, for the
doesn't
grappling?
understand grappling. So you can follow the stand up kind of, but as soon as it goes to the ground, she doesn't know what's going on. And so most of that last fight with Chelsea was a back and forth jujitsu a lot. So she had no idea what was going on. She didn't know I won. She was just confused.
Yeah. About that, can you tell us about that armbar?
Yeah,
I didn't know that worked.
I never trained an armbar like that. I don't know where that one came from, but I felt like, I had her and she was trying to go for the hitchhike, and I posted my arm up, and I knew as long as I had hips in and I had some sort of leverage on her elbow that I could get the finish. I heard my corner yell, 30 seconds left. So I was like, man, I have the arm right now. I don't want to lose it. So I just kind of had to get creative. And that was the only time that my arm really bothered me at all during the fight. I think my adrenaline was taken over. But the first time I fell back with the arm bar, I had to loosen my grip on my right arm really fast to kind of, because it just shot pain up to my shoulder. And so I let it go really quick, and that's when she kind of was starting to roll out, and I had to.
That was amazing. I think let's call that the Juju.
Oh, awesome!
I'm gonna try that next time.
Yeah, and then my corner afterwards, he was like, "Man, can you do that armbar on me real quick? I didn't think that would work. I didn't think it would hurt." And I tried it, and sure enough, it fucking works. Oops, sorry.
Amazing. All right. Yeah. We're online.
Okay.
You can say anything.
That was just, yeah. I was like, does that work? Yeah, apparently it does work. Could you take us to like talking about one of your MMA idols? You said Michelle Watterson is one of them.
What particularly inspires you about her?
My favorite fighter is Angela Lee. I got the snap down, the Anaconda snap down in my fight against Chelsea, and Angela Lee did that. And I was thinking about her during my fight. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be Angela. But I lost the choke, so I wasn't cool enough to be Angela. Not yet, but I'm working towards that.
She is an amazing
Yeah,
athlete.
she is. And I also really, I like the way she carries herself, too. I think it's, you can be a good fighter, but if you're like a shitty person, I can't root for them. So I really respect who she is outside of the cage too.
Have you gotten any offers from the organization that she's fighting in right now?
No.
Well, would you take it if they offered you?
In a heartbeat. Walk my ass to Singapore.
But Rizin's great too.
Yeah, no, I love Rizin. Don't get me wrong. I just love having the opportunity to fight, no matter where it is. I don't mind fighting local, whatever type of show it is. I just like it.
Is it because the normal progression would be local to UFC? Is the UFC something you might aspire to?
Like I said, it's weird because I don't have like this ultimate goal in my mind. I kind of take it day at a time almost, because all of this just happened much faster than even I was anticipating. And I just I'm humbled by the opportunity to be able to fight for Rizin, which is an amazing organization. And so I don't want to get greedy with wanting this and wanting that, and I want to fight here, I want to fight there. Just anywhere that will allow me to fight for them, I'll be very excited.
It's actually a very good attitude towards
Yes,
fighting.
exactly.
Thank you.
You're for sure you're gonna be. You're already an inspiration to some girls. Sooner or later, you're gonna be inspiring more and more girls to train in MMA.
That's true.
I hope so. That'd be awesome.
You might be surprised. You've got a pretty good fan base in Asia, especially in Manila.
Oh, that's awesome. It's so cool.
Are you still with El Nino?
Yep, I'm at El Nino.
How is it training there? I mean, how is is it more of a jiu-jitsu camp or a wrestling gym?
Or do they have both?
It's an all-around MMA gym. You've got they actually have a very strong Muay Thai program. Johnson, just a legend, is out there coaching. So it's very great to have him, and then obviously to have Gilbert Melendez and Johnson in there, alongside like Leslie Smith and Kerry Melendez. They're all amazing to be around, and it's just great. I love it.
I've seen footage of you training. That whip kick, that spinning heel kick is coming along. Is that something you're gonna incorporate like soon enough? Like,
Well, I throw that kick and I always throw it real high, and I'm so tall for my weight class that I forget. So I've thrown a couple of spinning attacks in other fights, and I've every single time I'm over their head by like this much. So until I can like get it a little lower or find a taller girl, I'm holding it back.
yeah, you're pretty tall for your weight class. Do you have any like problems getting it down to 125?
No, I actually I don't really cut weight. I walk around between 130 and to 133. And then so I don't have much of a weight cut at all. I'm actually trying to put on some muscle weight right now.
I think JC that comes from the good Asian genes, like.
Oh yeah.
Give me away down.
Considering that you're pretty tall for your weight class, I guess it's still early on in your career, but are you actually planning to maybe move up a weight since you're too tall for most of your opponents?
No, I wouldn't move up a weight because I think most of those girls that are fighting at 135 walk around at like 150. That's just not a weight that I think I can get to. I'd be giving up a lot of size advantage. I feel like even at 125, I'm not as strong physically, as strong as my opponents are. They tend to be stockier and have that build that I don't really have. So I think going up a weight class, I'd be giving up too much of a muscle size.
That's interesting. One of the people we've talked to is Will Chope. He's like a veteran in the Asian circuit, and he's really tall as well. He's a featherweight. I think he's 6'1", and he fights like 3 classes lower, just like you do. And he has the same problem like you do because he fights Asians, and his high kick is too high sometimes. So I don't know. Maybe you'd like to talk to him sometime, and he says the recalibration is really the thing. Your body kick needs to be.
Most of the girls that I train with too, they're Leslie Smith. She's like 5'10", so it's not helpful.
Exactly. You won't be fighting anyone like that in Rizin.
I know.
How is it, by the way, fighting in Rizin with the non-unified rules? I mean, was it a jump from like the North American rules?
You know what? When I went over there, I was like, man, soccer kicks and stomping on people's faces, it's so mean. I would never do that. And then in my last fight, I soccer kicked her. Didn't even think twice about it. I was for 12-6 elbows.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's awesome, man.
No, I would like to think that I'm like nice enough to not soccer kick somebody, but then I don't know, something came over me. It's my alter ego. It's not me.
Oh, do you think you have like you turn that on? I mean, do you think you're a totally different person in the ring, like when that happens?
Yeah, I have a little switch.
Tell us about this switch.
Well, she triangled me, and I was stuck in that shit for like 2 whole minutes. And I was like, damn, that pissed me off. So I went off.
Yeah, just
scary.
There are a lot of other fighters out there who have that same thing. I mean, for some reason, they're very, very nice people outside the cage. When they go inside, they're just monsters. I
think fighters are nice because we have an outlet for all the mean stuff that we want to do, and it's legal, and we get paid for it. So outside the cage, we can be nicer, as opposed to if we did not have this outlet, there'd be a lot of pent up anger. You see.
You leave it all there. Is it? It seems like when you talk about it, it's almost a spiritual transcendent thing for you to get all that out, all that violence out in the ring.
Spiritual. I just get pissed off.
And as part of your training, do you do anything like meditations of sorts?
I got too much energy to meditate.
Mhm.
I tried, and I can't calm my mind. I can't. I don't know. I'm not. I tried. I like did the yoga, breathing exercises, and I don't know. It wasn't for me. I want to be able to get into this Zen space or whatever, but I'm not there yet. I'm working on it.
Well, it looks like fighting is your meditation.
There you go.
Yeah, fighting is such a meditation. Um, could you talk us through probably fighting full time? Yeah, do you still hold down a full time job? Like, are you still bartending?
I'm not bartending anymore, but I am working. I obviously, the goal would be to get to a place where it could be my full-time job. I know I have 2 pro fights so far, so I'm a little ways away from getting there where I can fight and be, financially secure to not have to do other jobs. But
And that would be an awesome like just transition for you, we guess. Because since Ryzen is now behind you, that's a great push for just going full time. Is there anything like you'd like to say to your fans, especially since in some interviews you've said like it's given you a lot of confidence and it's given you like the space to just find yourself. Um, what is your advice for like people, girls especially who look up to you, especially with the it's Women's Month right now.
yeah, I think I know this is gonna sound weird, but I actually think it's very important for girls to, if it's within something that they think that they're interested in doing, to go and spar and feel what it's like to go up against a very physically strong person. I think it'll actually show a lot about your mental toughness. Um, Something about, I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but I do think it's important to experience in a controlled setting where it's appropriate to get hit and to see how you'd react. And I don't want that to come off in the wrong way or anything, but it's very telling about who you are, what you're capable of doing, what with the kind of strength you have within yourself. I think this is something that everybody can do. It just is, we're going to require some mental training, some mental toughness, and there's no better way to do that than to just get in there and to try it.
Yeah, well, that's a very nice message for women. I mean, here in the Philippines, they have this campaign they call "Fight Like a Girl," where women kickboxers, jujitsu players, and all they go around and do seminars for self defense for women that they call "Fight Like a Girl."
Yeah, it's an
And
awesome campaign.
I'm not sure if they do spars as well, but with what you said, I'm sure it should be. It needs to be something that has to be done. I mean, in my case, I believe that how would you know how to defend yourself?
Exactly, yeah.
Looking toward the future, Juju, is there any news of who you're going to fight next? When you're going to fight? After you're healed?
Yeah, so I'm still in recovery right now and still in rehab, so I'm looking probably at the end of this year. It's a 9-month recovery for the surgery. So that puts me at about October is when I can start training full on, and then have a 2-month camp, and maybe by this year's New Year's card in Rizin again, maybe I can get on that. As far as an opponent or anything, I don't have anything planned.
Cool. Elbows are really tricky, especially post surgery.
Yeah, I didn't realize. how tricky it was.
You said your muscle was gone. Like you got a
Yeah,
few.
it's like just like totally. I have nothing left at all. It's
Oh
just
man, what happened? It's like
nothing left.
like it's like Bas Rutten's arm.
Oh
He got
no!
nerve damage. Yeah, he got nerve damage. Just he calls it the baby arm.
Yeah, it's my noodle. Somebody called it a noodle online.
It looks like a noodle. Like it
It feels like a noodle. It
feels
looks
like
like a noodle. Tastes like a noodle.
limp noodle.
Yeah.
Well, that reminds us of like you remember JC when because they recently cleaned out Jacare's elbow. He had elbow surgery just like you, and they found bits and pieces of bone inside from when he's just been fighting for so long.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, they said like I think Tiffany Van Soest had some surgery on her elbow, and because she had elbowed so many things over the years that her elbow, the bone itself was like the hardest elbow bone they had ever seen.
Amazing.
Does that surgery, with all the muscle gone and all, does that affect your strength right now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right now at the moment it does. I only started working on strength and conditioning a week ago. They can only let me use up to a 3-pound weight until I hit the 3-month mark. So I'm not quite there yet, but yeah, I'll get there. Hopefully.
well, we wish you the best. Is there anybody you'd like to thank? Sponsors, training camps, fans.
Yeah, well, I just want to thank you guys first of all for having me on. It was a lot of fun, and thanks to everyone who's watching and listening. And I really appreciate it. And I'm thankful for my training camp at El Nino, all of my coaches. You know, they all know who they are. So
And hopefully, when we will have an opportunity to have you on the show with a full studio, and we'll do a face-to-face interview. I mean,
We
I'm
hope
sure
you-
that'll be fun.
We do hope you can come over, like if Rizin does another show, or hopefully, like if you go over to one, other things might come up. We'd love to see you against Angela Lee, too.
different weight classes. First of all, I'd never fight her. I'd cry myself to sleep. I had to fight her. She's scary.
She is such a young champion as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being on the show again, Juju, and yeah, we can't wait to see you back in fighting again.
Thank you so much.